situations where you can still take care of your elderly ones when they don't have too many health problems that should be handled by professionals.
Yeah. Asian culture. Something really happened during that time. How they see taking care of older people is as a reward or as a time for like to pay back.
Some of them have worked with the government for a very long while, and now they are being served pennies as pension.
Their physical abuse, where you inflict pain or physical injury on an elderly person just because, they are defenseless, they are frail. In some cases, they can't defend themselves.
Nigerians normally, we know they mind our business, and I think that's one thing I love about Nigerians. Everybody's got that. Kudos to all the caregivers out there, all the professionals. You're doing a very good job.
They also need to be trained. Yeah, so there's some training that they can receive that will make their work easier.
Hey guys, welcome to Timeline. This is the very first episode of the new year. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year, Joan.
Happy New Year.
It's nice to have you guys on the very first episode of Timeline in a very new year and a very prosperous year. And again, before I forget, so that they don't cut my head off. Happy birthday to you. Belated birthday now.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Although we don't see cake, but then it's fine.
Don't worry, meet me after the
show. There's cake back.
Yes, there will be cake.
I have no issue with that.
Thank you so much, guys.
So you guys are welcome to Timeline once again. It's a new year, and I hope that all we pray for and wish for to happen this year comes to pass.
Amen.
Exactly. My name is Paul, and with me here is,
as usual, Joan.
I'm Temitope.
What happened?
That's for short. I actually like that very demure introduction. Exactly. It's a new year, so we have to be humble. Play it on a low key for now.
So that the economy will not humble you the more.
I know, right? Okay. We hope for a better economy this year, by the way.
Honestly.
Today we're talking about how we care for older persons, and it's very important because at the end of the day, we all grow, and I think one of the characteristics of life is that we age one every day. So as we wake up every day, we are getting a day older, and then we celebrate like you now. You're already a year older now.
Yeah.
Don't be already thinking of how you plan your old age, your retirement. Are you planning?
Don't be too fast now.
Okay, too fast.
I'm still young. I'm still sweet 16.
Okay, so but again, since you're still sweet 16, it's fine. There's a real definition for those that we consider to be older persons.
Yeah.
And those are those between the age of 60 and above. Although there are categories to this thing again. We have the young old, which is between this age of 60 and 69. And then we have the middle old between the age of 70 to 79. And then we have the elderly old. That's the ones that are very old. That's between the age of 80 up until whatever age.
Let's do your part.
200 to 50. Wait, okay, no, not now. I'll not ask now. But research has said that as we are going, it's expected that the population of older persons is expected to reduce, to increase rather, specifically about 2.1 billion by the year 2050, according to United Nations Department for Economic and Social Welfare. And also, World Bank has also further said that with this population, 80% of them are expected to be in regions like Africa.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of Africa, let's go to the historic events of old, how to take care of the older people. And this culture, about the African and Asian culture, something really happened during that time. How they see taking care of older people is as a reward or as a time for like to pay back time, to take care of their parents or their loved ones that are old. It's to show a sign of respect and responsibility. Because imagine when you are very little and your parents were very agile as at that time, they were taking care of you, and now it's not time for you to like take care of them back. That was how they saw their own culture. Unlike now that the presence of industrialization, modernization, civilization has taken a very huge space, and now instead of you as a child that is supposed to take care of your parents, you now say, okay, there is now a professional or set of professionals that have built some infrastructures, like the nursing homes, the old person's homes, where you can take your parents or your loved ones to. And while you are out there hustling for the money to pay for these professional services that they are rendering to your family, and they are also playing their own part. So that's actually, we are seeing the transition from, seeing yourself as like the person taking care of your parents or your loved ones to paying professionals to do that particular thing for you.
Yeah, it's actually a thing of how it's done in the environment, how it sees like in the environment. But one thing I want to ask before we even go further in the conversation is that would you advise that we keep our old persons in our homes? And at what stage do we now take them out of the homes to put them in other people's home? And then is it better?
Okay. Yeah, just like you said, in old times, it used to be that we take care of our old ones, like a payback, just like you said, out of respect to them.
Yeah.
And now we are seeing more institutions that take care of them. So to answer your question, I would say yes and no. There are situations where you can still take care of your elderly ones when they don't have too many health problems that should be handled by professionals.
Yeah.
But there are certain instances, for example, in dementia and something like Alzheimer's disease, they lose memory, they lose function, they're not able to cater for themselves, they're not able to do anything for themselves.
Yeah.
They can even sometimes wander off from
the house. Yeah.
From the house.
Yeah.
I've heard of instances on Facebook or on social media, they'll just put a picture of
missing
movies very well. You see them happening in movies.
Yes.
And in the middle of the night, they just walk out of the house.
So they just wander off. So because of that, in a case like that, it might actually be better for them to be in an institution where they can take care of them adequately. But aside that, in most cases, when they don't have many health problems, they can still be taken care of at home.
Yeah.
Old age does not mean that you are not useful for yourself or you can't do anything. With no health problems, people can still live into their 80s and still, be okay.
Yeah.
The presidents of the United States are old. Or it's the incoming and the
incoming.
So
exactly.
they are old people, but they are still very functional. So it's just when we begin to have, health problems, cognitive decline, that's when it becomes an issue. So old people can still function normally.
Yeah.
So yes, they can be taken care of at home, but in certain instances, it will be better if they are taken care of
by professionals.
Yes, by
Okay,
professionals.
so now let's move on to the challenges in taking care of these people, because I feel according to WHO, one of the they say 1 out of 6 older persons are being abused. Either physically or emotionally, either by caregivers or even sometimes relatives per se, and sometimes they are neglected. Abusing it doesn't have to mean that they are flogging the old person or something, right? Abuse could be emotional, trying to talk down on these people.
Yeah.
Abuse could be also physical, like I said, like sometimes even punish them with probably some of them that cannot move around now, and then they probably be on their body or something, and then be like, I'm not cleaning you. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Things like that. And then you not punish them with like, okay, no food for you, or you leave them in that state where they are. It happens, right?
Yes.
I just want to show that I'm not making
it happens. So there are different types of abuse, like you said. There are physical abuse, where you inflict pain or physical injury on an elderly person just because, they are defenseless, they are frail. In some cases, they can't defend themselves. Then it can be psychological. Like you have said, you talk down on them just because you're the one providing for them or taking care of them. But there's also another one, you can neglect them. Just like you said, if they're not able to clean themselves, for instance, and they soil themselves, you leave them there, you don't give them food when necessary, you don't provide for their needs. That is neglect. And that is one of the ways that elderly people get abused. Another way is financial exploitation. Now, in some cases, these old people, they have money, they are rich, but people taking care of them take advantage of that. And then the people that have the money, they're not really
getting care
exactly
that they're paying for.
But other people are exploiting them. So that's a way of abuse. It's not common, but it still happens. So that's another form of abuse.
Yeah, and I think another challenge is inadequate health care facilities. Like in this part of the world now, you see that there are some places that don't have some facilities that can care for older people. We just have for younger ones and, infants and all that. And also for low-income countries and developing countries, you see that they are still they're still lagging behind in providing facilities to take care of all these older persons. So even the developed countries are still lagging behind, it's making sure that, okay, these older persons are well taken care of, health care.
Yeah, again, there's also the economic stress on them as well, because sometimes, for example, drugs for dementia, if I'm not wrong, there are drugs that are quite pricey, right? There are drugs that you need money to buy, and these people are no longer working like they used to be before. They're either on pension, they are on something, just managing themselves, and usually they don't have that financial strength, the capability to ensure and also to pay for themselves. But regardless, I want to ask on the flip side now, just quickly, how pricey is the care for the older persons, and is government actually subsidizing things like that for the older persons?
Okay, yeah, it's very pricey. Like you said, usually old people, they have multiple medical problems. Yeah. That is really the problem. Some of them may be dealing with hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, and then dementia in some cases. And you have maybe 2 drugs for hypertension, 2 drugs for diabetes. They may be on up to 8 drugs, and they have to buy those drugs every month. So it's very pricey to medications, even to see the doctors, to see specialists, because some of them would have to see different specialists. Yes. So it's actually very pricey. And like you said, it's really, the government really needs to subsidize at least for these people. Right now in Nigeria, there is a provision for them under the National Health Insurance Authority, but most of them are still not benefiting from it yet. So this is something that we really need to advocate for.
Let's talk about it more.
Yes, so that this can happen, because it's really not sustainable for them. Like we said, they are not earning. They're just, most of them are just living on their pensions, which is meager in most cases. So it's really something that needs to be looked into.
Actually, yeah, it's something that needs to be looked into. We're going to short breakdown. Once we return, we'll continue to expand on the conversation on how best we can care for older persons. We all have older persons, and we all are going to grow old one day, and also we want to be taken care of very well, and we all want to live a long life. So it's important we learn how to care for older persons so that we also can be taken care of. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Happy New Year. Don't forget.
Hey everyone, let's face it, our world today experiences numerous challenges. And guess what? Our community isn't off the hook either. Most of the world issues are either not talked about enough or never talked about at all. But here on Timeline, we've got you covered. We dive deep into issues that affect us every day, leaving behind footprints of wisdom, knowledge, and solutions. Think of it like a roadmap that keeps you on the track for success. So buckle up, because in this new season of Timeline, we're taking another trip through the past, the present, and navigate into a more promising future. Again, we're talking solutions, people. And let's make one thing clear. This is not your average blah, blah, blah convo. This is real talk with a side of inspiration and a sprinkle of wow. I never thought about it like that. I'm your host on this impactful ride. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff, laugh a little, and find ourselves on the path to positive change. So what are you waiting for? Season 2 of Timeline will be loaded. Let's get started. Hop in and let's drive straight into the heart of issues shaping our world. Let's go. Oh, one more thing. Hit that subscribe button and let's take this ride together.
Every day, Amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hued Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hued Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hued Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Paul. With me here is
John, easy.
and also we have Timmy Tokwe in the building.
Dr. Timmy Tokwe.
Dr. Timmy Tokwe in the building.
Welcome, doctor.
I don't know.
Thank you.
I thought we wanted to be humble. That's why okay, we shouldn't be humble.
She's humble sister, Dr. Timmy Tokwe.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's quickly talk about access to even healthcare facilities now, for example, because in some regions, right, the where this older person stays and where the closest sometimes primary healthcare is actually not just a stone throw, right? I'm not saying not just, it's very far in such a way that sometimes you have to. It's more like traveling to go see your doctors and things like that. What do you think can be done? What are those things that can be done in trying to bring healthcare to the doorsteps of older persons? Because in some cases, so for example, some of them that have arthritis now, right, it's expected that in some very serious cases they won't be able to walk on their own and things like that. So what can be done so that we bring healthcare to them?
Okay, yeah, so it has to do with political will, because it's the government that really provides health facilities, especially in this part of the world, as in rural areas most especially. So there has to be that will by the government to provide access to health for all. So if the number of facilities in any community, they have enough number, then you wouldn't have to walk a long way before you can access health. So one of the characteristics of good healthcare system is access, ease of access. So if you have to travel many miles before you can access health, that means that health care is not accessible.
So you're saying that there should be more of primary health care established?
Exactly.
Yes. So government should make sure that more of these centers are established so that everyone can have access to healthcare. So that is very important. And apart from government also, communities can also come together and make sure that they advocate for their needs. Okay, so if they realize that, okay, maybe in this whole local government, we only have one healthcare center, they can come together as a community and then, put together their voices and then advocate for themselves that, okay, we need this kind of services. So I think that is a very major way to get these facilities around for them to be able to access it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, doctor. And I feel another strategy is technology. Technology has come to stay from the look of things, and it should be very involved in everything that we are doing. And this is what we call telemedicine, and trying to reach out to your doctor. I don't know, maybe you started doing that, people consulting you via online, and you get to give them prescriptions, tell them, okay, this is what's wrong with me, and then you can understand it, except maybe in the case of physical attention or maybe operation or something that you have to now come to the hospital for a physical checkup and all that. Or you can actually access medical care from technology, as far as you're connected internet-wise, you can actually access that. So, and that will make the journey very, very swift and easy.
Yeah, you're right. but even in the urban centers, we are still grappling with that.
Oh, okay.
That is a very new thing that we are still trying to get used to.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while before it solves the problems for people in rural areas.
Okay.
Yes, in the urban centers, that is a very good option. For people that have chronic illnesses, they don't have to keep going to the hospital like every month for their medication refill and everything. You can do that using telemedicine.
Home,
But I think we are getting there. Yes, telemedicine is a way to bring healthcare to people in their houses.
At the
They
comfort
don't
of
have to,
their homes,
especially elderly people who may have problems with mobility and all that. So that is a very excellent way, but we are getting
We're
there.
still coming up.
Like, so far now, what do you think are the limitations of telemedicine in reaching people? Because there are some times that in rural areas, for example, right, it's expected that, don't let me say expected, in most rural areas, they still lack access to internet, like access to proper infrastructure that could help and also aid this particular telemedicine. And also, how do doctors now even trust it? Because I know that doctors, because if it's like that, right, a doctor could be in the US and then just via phone call, right? But usually, I think first consultation, I think the doctor will always want to have it face to face, right, where I can see you and then go check your heartbeat and things like that. So, what are the limitations to this telemedicine now?
Okay, the limitations for this environment is that connectivity, as in we are not there yet. Even just browsing on your phone without that is
internet to seize.
That is difficult. Not to talk of as in video. So it's just the connectivity. Basically, that is it. Everybody now knows how to use. Even elderly people now they use their phones. It will be a very good solution, but it's that connectivity. We are not there yet. As for trusting it. Now there are wearable devices, right? When I'm seeing you, I want to check your vitals and all that. So we have monitors. You can check your own blood pressure and tell me what it is. We can check your blood sugar and tell me what it is. So we have those things that we can use now with telemedicine. The only thing about it, or one of the disadvantages, is privacy. As in, you might not really, security. You might not really be able to guarantee
patients to doctor confidentiality.
Exactly. So because you are online, I don't know, as in that data security is something
like someone can easily hack the whole site.
And then there's a third party watching what's going on.
Yeah, so that's one of the disadvantages or drawbacks. But I believe as time goes on, we will be able to overcome this as well.
Yeah,
so
actually, as problem has been observed, right?
Yes, solutions coming up.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, another thing again that can be done, right? Because one of the things we mentioned as part of the challenges is the economic stress on these older persons, right? And I think that some of them have worked with the government for a very long while, and now they are being served pennies as pension. And if it's a political will, right? There's a reform in the pension system of these particular persons. We will expect that we'll see more of our elderly people around us, and we will also expect that we won't be seeing them looking for money to get medications and things like that. So I feel like one of the things that can also be done again is the economic the pension reforms. Another thing again is the support of the community. Because I feel like a community that is very strong, where there is love, right, is expected that you take care of those that are old. I'll give an example of my grandma, for example. Like, my grandma lives back at home, right, and there's no one around her. Like, everyone that wants to go and see her has to go and travel. Like, it's travel of intentionally. I have to go and travel. I have to travel 4 hours, 3 hours to go and see this woman, right? But one thing I notice usually when we go visit is that people from the environment they'll just be passing by in front of the house, and you'll just call grandma, how are you? Things like that, just to check up on her and see if she's doing well and all of that. I think there was a time when she was not feeling fine. It was one of our neighbors that took her to the hospital and things like that. I think the support of the community is very important. In fact, it's most paramount to the health of older persons.
Like, this brings me, I like this angle that you just entered now. This brings me to Nigerians. Normally, we know they mind our business, and I think that's one thing I love about Nigerians. And this particular attitude of ours, the positive part of it is that it has actually saved a lot of people. Because imagine when you're always passing a particular street and people know you, that you always pass, maybe by so time, you're always passing, and after a while they don't see you. And some people, most of them might have died in their houses, and that's when people tend tend to figure out that, we've not seen this person for a particular time, or okay, let's get the person's number, that kind of thing. So this community interaction, friendship, is very, very important. It should be established in both churches, in mosque, everywhere, in the hospital, at homes. Everybody is your business. That's what I believe, especially when it comes to every sector. Although the sector that does not concern you, but last, you should just learn to take care of every other person, because I believe in this sentence that your brother is your keeper, or everybody is everybody's brother's keeper. I don't know, but that's what I believe. So that's it.
I think one thing again that needs to be addressed is reforms in even the old people's home.
Yeah.
Because from videos I've watched online, because I've not been to any old person's home, I'm online, right? If you're going to, from videos I've watched, they are more like the traditional hospitals, just long corridors, a room to the left, a room to the right. You hear beeping sometimes in some corridors and things like that. In places like Netherlands now, for example, they have a community. In fact, they call it dementia village, where people with dementia are being housed. So it's more like an old people's home, right? But it's not the proper setting. Now, this particular is a village, like I said. It has barbering salon, things that you see in your community normally, barbering salon, restaurant, things like that, field, things like everywhere, everything here.
Just keep their body busy and everything.
And then all of those that are there in the restaurant, for example, the waiters are there aren't just waiters, right? They're also caregivers. Those that help them at the supermarket are not just cashiers, right, or shopping assistants, right? What they are is that they are also caregivers, so
trained professionals.
Exactly, everybody in that particular system is a trained professional. And I think if we could restructure our old people's home to not just be something that looks like an hospital, right, it would also help in caring for these people. And again, it was actually shown that those that are in this dementia village, they don't really need the antipsychotic drugs that people use normally, like those that have dementia, what they use normally. I think that's compared to those that are in old people's home. It's 50% in old people's home, and I think less than 12% in those that are in these villages. So I think that's another thing again that can be done. And I want to now let us compare between old people's home and people staying at home. I know that there's an effect. I think that's ABC now. They did a research where they kept old people's home, like that's old people living with 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
So there were old people in a house, and then they brought young children out, the 4 years old and all of that. And I noticed that these old people were eager about seeing these 4-year-olds the next day. They cared about them, and also the impact on the young ones as well, right? Now, my point is that I want you to now differentiate. Okay, if we're keeping our old ones in a old people's home, they are just in their own space. Everybody around them is old.
Everybody looks alike.
Exactly. So everybody has similar problem, right? Things like that. Do you think that it's really best, or we should just leave them at home where there are still kids around that will make them want to stand up sometimes to do something?
Or let me even add to your question. Yeah. Or are there some games that spice it up during, like in the old people's homes?
Yes, I believe in old people's homes, they have activities that they do. Yeah, that stimulates these elderly people, because that's a very, very important thing. Because when you begin to get old, there's that risk of cognitive decline. And what you need at that point is stimulation. You need constant stimulation. Yeah. So even though they are with old people like them, I believe that's the essence of a home. They already have all the things that they need in mind. And so there are activities that would have been prepared for them to do to keep them stimulated. So like I said, there are instances where they absolutely need to be in a home where professionals can cater to them. So if they fall into that category, yes, that would be the best thing for them. But I agree that people that stay at home may feel more free. As in they'll be more active. They can, most of them don't like
routine life.
Exactly. Most of them don't like going to these homes. Nobody would want to, leave their children, their grandchildren, and then choose to go and stay in a old people's homes. Only few people will do that. So yes, it's good if they can stay with family, support, love. As in, you can't get that anywhere else. So it's always best if they can stay at home. But there are certain instances where it will be better for them. It will be better for the caregivers if they stay in an institution where they can be managed properly.
Okay, I think we said a lot about how we can care for our old persons, and I've learned a lot. Okay, so what do you, on the final notes now, what will you recommend that we do in caring for our old persons so that they live long enough?
Okay, I'll recommend number one, awareness. Like what we're doing now. As in to know that, okay, old people are increasing, right? Because our fertility rates are decreasing. In my time when we were growing up, we used to have 6 children. Families will have 6 children, 7 children. Now you have like 2, 3 children. Yes. So fertility rates are declining, and then life expectancy is also increasing. So people are living longer, and then we are not giving birth to
younger ones.
Yeah, so we are having more older people. So we should be aware about that. And then we should also advocate for older people. So we need to prepare for this,
2050 that is coming.
Exactly. So we need to start preparing our healthcare infrastructure to be able to cater
for their needs.
Because they usually depend on healthcare.
Yes.
Because they have multiple problems, they need to go to the hospital regularly. So we need to prepare for that. And then I guess for families should take it as their responsibility to take care of their old ones. For example, in a family where you have 2, 3 children, it can be shared. You can say, okay, I'll be the one responsible for the doctor appointments. I'll be the one responsible for buying drugs. I'll be the one, okay, you can stay in my house for 2 months, then you go to this person's house.
You could not share it 4 months.
Yes. So families must also take their responsibility, and everyone must know that we are all like this, but we are also going to get old. Everybody is going to get old. So it's going to be us tomorrow. So I think everybody should bear that in mind, and all hands should be on deck from the government. They should play their part and make sure that healthcare is accessible for older people. And then all of us too should just do our part and take care of our old ones.
I think my own part now, you've really, really said a lot, Doctor, and I totally agree with you. I'm always agreeing, actually. And
I was about pointing out that you always agree. You never disagree.
All right, to my own part.
We're in a new year.
Yeah, we're in a new year. So I think I would advocate for the caregivers, actually. These people are actually really, really trying. There's what we call burnout. They can be very, very stressed. Let's talk about the fact that, yes, they are taking care of other people.
Sometimes it gets very annoying.
It gets very annoying.
Simple for you to do now.
Exactly. So I've not been in that situation. Okay, I think I have, but my grandma was not really that old. In fact, she was the one taking care of myself. So I've not really been in that situation, but I can imagine what it can be, because you are still the agile one, and you're telling someone maybe to do this, do that, and before the person will raise one spoon up, it will take a very long time, and you have to be very, very patient. So where the government of patience is not a very small issue. So first of all, I would just say kudos to all the caregivers out there, all the professionals. You're doing a very good job. And for our government, you should also take care of these caregivers to keep taking care of the older ones.
Exactly.
I think that's where I draw my own.
Let me add to that. Caregivers, like you said, they can be frustrating, especially when you have to deal with older people.
Exactly.
So they also need to be trained. So there's some training that they can receive that will make their work easier. That will make them understand, the
psychological aspect of it.
Yes.
No, in fact, they don't know what they are doing.
Exactly. So it takes training. So to prevent that burnout that you're talking about. So these informal caregivers, we call them informal caregivers because they are not professionals.
Trained,
So they too, they need to be trained, because when they are not trained, then they get frustrated and then they get burnt out, and then they take it out on the elderly people.
Actually, I get where you're coming from. Some of them don't understand the ethics of the job. They don't understand what to expect. But if they are trained, they tell you what to expect. I will overcome all of this.
So both the informal caregivers and even the professionals, they usually train them and retrain them, because you need
like they go for a workshop or something.
You have to be up to date every day.
Well,
I guess we've expanded enough on this topic. We are not going to stop here, right? The conversation still continues with you specifically. What are you doing in your community? What are you doing in your environment? It's important for us all to ensure that we take care of our old ones. I know that they can be a lot sometimes. It can be very hard to convince about some certain issues. But regardless, we still have to love them because they loved us first. And I guess that's how we're going to close the curtains for today. And that's how we're going to open the new year as well. So, well, thank you very much for watching Timeline. My name is Paul, and with me here was
the birthday girl, Joan.
And also, we're expressing our cake back. And also, we had a beautiful voice. Exactly. Thanks for joining us. Until we meet again, don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you share to everyone that has an old person in their home and let them watch. And you should learn 1 or 2 things from this. Until then, bye for now, guys.
Bye.